So we're like, okay, fine, we'll meet in Musica. And so myself and Tammy were there. I was so freaking nervous. She and I think we were actually holding hands. We were so nervous. And he walks in and
So who was the driver?
the driver was her boyfriend at the time, Jacques. They were dating for about 3 months.
And what happened to him after the accident? How was he?
He ended up totally almost he ended up in a coma for about 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah,
That's
I
huge.
stand to be corrected, but I believe it was 6 years. And he totally lost function of everything, his entire body.
And then
But
6 years
period.
later, he was fine.
Yeah, he started recovering. I'm sure he had to go for rehabilitation and that,
Right.
but
Of course.
he started recovering.
Okay. And does he remember anything about the accident?
Apparently not.
Apparently
Apparently
not.
not.
Why do you think apparently? What do you think?
Because when I met him, he claimed to not remember anything of that day.
When you met him, and then at a later point, suddenly he did know some things.
No, I never spoke to him after that because he was being a little douchebag.
Oh, the day you met him.
Yeah. So the thing is with him, and the reason why I decided to look for him, because I just believed in him, is because I remember I was with my gran. It was Easter weekend. I was with my gran at my gran's place, and my mom had came to fetch me, and we went to the garage up the road because she wanted to tell me something quickly. So it was myself, her, and one of her cousins. So we went to the garage, and then the cousin went into the shops to get something, and she turned around and she says, I got something really exciting to tell you that I mustn't tell anybody. Which again, I thought it was super cool of her, you know, the way she treated me. So I was like, yeah, what? And I immediately knew now that she was instilling a little bit of trust in me. And I knew that I couldn't, or I wouldn't break her trust. So I knew when she told me that that I shouldn't tell anybody, I knew that I wouldn't. I knew, and I felt like she was my best friend at the time. So I was like, yeah, tell me. And then she says, on Easter Monday, she had gone out with her friends, and there was this guy that approached her, a white guy that approached her, and basically asked her, hi.
Did she describe it to you like that? There was a white guy.
Yeah, with big smiles. Approached her and they got to talking. I can't remember exactly how he chatted her up. But basically, he asked for the number and she told me that she was hesitant because she wasn't sure whether she was ready or not. But she was like, you know, what the hell? So she gave the number, and then a day or two later he had phoned her. And so they were speaking.
Okay.
And so they were speaking for some time over the phone because he had lived in Bethlehem and we lived in Durban at the time. And they got into a little, I don't know, you know, when you date, well, when you meet somebody, you're trying to be cheeky with them. She had said something and he was like, don't make me come down there for you. And she was like, yeah, come, you know. So she challenged him. And before she knew it, she told me that he phoned her and he was like, I'm on the way to Durban, you know.
Sure.
Which is, yeah, you know, something is cool, special. And he had come down, and then they went on the actual first, like, proper date. And obviously then she decided to now date him, and based on that she then decided to now tell me about it because she'd like me to meet him sometime when I was ready, you know. But I was immediately ever so excited. It was incredibly weird. It's the total opposite of how I felt when I found out about Andre. The thing is with Andre, I was younger, yes, but like when he came into the picture, I felt like he came in very sneakily, Sneak? Sneakily?
Sneaky like.
Sneaky like. He came in very sneaky like because he had just like appeared, you know, into the picture. And I was longing for my dad. Like, who are you? Like, you need to make room for my dad. Like, who are you? Like, get out the way. But he just became more permanent. All of a sudden, he started living with us, you know. So maybe it was in the way these people had been introduced into my life, but I don't think my feelings for Andre would have changed nonetheless, to be honest.
Those feelings were just of distrust.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Mm.
You know, you can't deny instincts, I believe. So I was instantly happy and I was very eager to meet this guy. Also the fact because he was white was the reason. And then she kept on telling me that he looked like Jesus, he looked like Jesus, he looked like Jesus. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what the hell? No one can look like Jesus. Yeah, and so I was excited to meet him. And that was the end of the conversation. Now we needed to keep it secret. So we went back to my grand's place. And that was that done with. The next thing I remember with Jacques is that we were at our flat, at our home. And I knew he was coming, and I was laying on her bed in her bedroom. She was there, and I think her friend was there as well. And he now had arrived. And so she went to open for him. I was a bit nervous, you know, because new man, I was coming to the picture, and I knew he was going to like share our life. But like I said, I was like excited about it for some reason. And maybe because she was so excited about it, I don't know. So she went to open for him, and as he took the turn to enter into the bedroom, he legit looked like Jesus. Like, that's what I saw. He had like this goldish hair, almost like your hairstyle, by the way, but like fuller and thicker. And he had this like almost like your jeez. But he had like a full thick on beard, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And thin guy, thin, tall guy. Like Jesus. But yeah. Ended up being far from that, by the way. Just want to put that out there. He came in, he was all very smiley, he had the most beautiful blue eyes. Yeah, very smiley, very gentle with me. Didn't force himself, you know, like for me to like him and whatever. He allowed me to take my time to like, you know, warm up to him. But it happened naturally. So for a few weeks, because they had met in April on Easter weekend, and I only met him in May, you know, after they spoke and dated or whatever. And then it was June, and then July the accident had occurred. So that's why I say for a few weeks I got a glimpse of what a family possibly felt like, you know, having a male and female, well, a mother and father, and okay, not father, it's wrong term.
You mean a complete family?
Yes, family, you know. I felt nice. It felt very secure. It felt very secure.
Did he come and stay down with you guys for a few weeks?
No, he used to only like come and visit on weekends and stuff.
Okay.
I refuse to shed a single tear for this man, so I'm not going to do it. I will not.
Okay, so walk us through the accident now.
No, there's still so much to tell about it.
Oh.
Yeah, then we ended up moving to Morningside. And he obviously visited there because there's a picture of him sitting on a single couch, and she was like draped across him, you know, he was like holding up, but they were sitting, and there's like a snap, a picture of them like that. And then I remember that she was very nervous to introduce him to Anselm once again because one being him being white, two introducing another guy to Anselm was very, you know, she was very nervous for Anselm. She told me though, she said Calvin was cool, Adrian was cool, Alton was like her friend, By Anselm, like she was like very fearful. um, yeah, but hey, I remember they met. It was for Anselm's sister-in-law's birthday. We were at the beach, in the beachfront, and he came, and everyone was just, it was just a joy. Everyone was just happy and like celebrating. It was just nice, and he got along, and Anselm, took to him. It was very nice. I remember, I mean, I was a child, right? But I think it was my aunt Sandy that whispered to my mom and said, I think Anselm likes him, because it's not like you're introducing a guy to them. Yeah, so I remember that went well, and I remember hearing that, and I remember thinking, this is good, this is nice, this is good. Unfortunately, that's all memories I have of him. I do remember he shared with me though his love for okay, that doesn't, oh no, it does. His love for Alanis Morissette's music.
Okay.
And so he basically introduced me to that music. I had heard it like once or twice before, but he had a liking towards it and he played it, and like I liked it even more. And for some reason I still enjoy her music. I love to hate her music because of that, because I want no connection to him anymore. Sure, I said that. He may see that. Well, yeah, no, he deserves. They're gonna see why. Anyway, yeah. So I wish I didn't have that connection, but I mean, her music's cool. It's cool.
I like that song. It's gonna be a rainy day.
It's like rain.
It's like rain.
It's like rain. Yeah, so that's all the memories I have of Jacques. As far as him visiting or me seeing him and that, until it came to a point where that week before, and including that Friday morning when she was basically begging me to say, look, he's moving away. So he got a promotion to move for his work, for his branch, to move to another branch for his work to Pretoria. So from Durban to Pretoria versus from Durban to Bethlehem, it was like double the distance, So, and that was the last weekend, because after that he was going to move. So she managed to, or Calvin was coming up, and now, there was a lift to come up, and then she could now see him before he moved so far, because their visits would be now less and less, And that's why she had applied for the job when McDonald's had came down to South Africa, here in Johannesburg, because then we'd be in Johannesburg, he'd be in Pretoria, so that was the direction it was heading.
So basically this was your mom's last chance to see this guy before he went off to Joburg, and it was going to be more difficult.
Yes. And then Calvin did mention, though, when he had dropped her off, he did mention that he noticed that Jacques wasn't looking 100% and felt and believed that Jacques was intoxicated. But my mom is so hard-headed, and the distance wasn't that long. And she was excited. I mean, she basically debated with me, like, please let me go, I'll get you a present, I'll buy you a present. And she's right there. There's no way in hell Calvin's gonna win with her.
3 hours.
Yeah. So then when the accident occurred, I didn't really hear much about him, because my whole world had changed, until I was later hearing stories about how he had ended up in that. And each year had gone by, and it was just so difficult. I had so many questions about everything. I just couldn't understand. And when I started working, I started looking for her. I used to look on Google, I used to look on Facebook, like everywhere you could, like, search engine. I even tried to look for private investigators, because I felt like, what if it really wasn't her in the coffin, and
sure, you still felt like that so many years after.
Definitely.
Like 8 or 9 years that was.
Yeah. because I just had so many unanswered questions. You know, like I just couldn't. There was nothing making me believe. Like you can't tell me she dropped me off, gave me some change, left me. You know, by her parents told me that she'll see me on Monday, and you're telling me that we went and buried her. Like it just, I couldn't fathom that. It just doesn't make sense. So I had so much questions, and who better to answer those questions? The person that was last with her. Because Calvin and his friends, I mean, his one friend Nadine, you know, she would tell me that the trip up, like my mom was so happy and she was singing, and you know, my mom was silly like me, you know, sing. And I wanted to see, I just wanted to hear, I just wanted to know what she was like for the last moments. And Calvin and Nadine and them said, their friend that they were traveling with, but basically said that she was so happy in the car, you know, and she was singing and stuff. So that's all good and well, but then what happened in the last moments, you know, who could answer that question? And that was Jacques for me, and you know what, he's still alive.
Yeah.
So let's start looking for him. So I started searching and searching and searching for many years, also trying to do the same. You know, there's countless times on Facebook, like random times in the year, on Google, phoning his place of work, you know, to find it, like to try and get information. But a couple of times they were like, no, they had no records of him, and I couldn't understand because they had to border him off. So of course there's records of him, but I just kept on reaching dead ends, and life went on like that miserably, and I kept on having breakdowns, and not finding myself and feeling lost, like because I don't have proper closure, and I don't think you can get closure or full closure, but I believe like some understanding, deep understanding into the situation helps, and I felt like I needed that because nothing was satisfying me in life. And so 14 years went by, and I ended up explaining the situation to one of my friends at the time, and he was like, let me try. And he tried the same avenue that I tried a few years ago. I can't mention the place of work that they tried, you know, but the same way I tried a few years ago by calling this place. This friend had just taken Jacques' name and surname and managed to find 2 cell phone numbers, you know, of Jacques, and had confirmed that this was actually in fact him because the place of work had confirmed that he had been boarded off.
Right.
You know, so I knew.
So you had his number now.
So I had 2 potential numbers of his, yeah.
Right. And then it was time to make the call.
Yeah. So I was ever so thrilled. I was so excited because, you know, it's my final, I mean, this is my only chance to get answers after so many years, because I felt like the fact that it wasn't leaving me, like going to New York has never left me from the age of 8, and it'll never leave me until it's done. It's one of those things, you know. This wasn't leaving me for 14 years, you know, and so unless I get answers, it's just going to be my infatuation. So the amount of relief that I felt just having 2 cell phone numbers was amazing. And so I decided to call, not being prepared or anything at the time, and I decided to call, and the first number, it didn't work, it didn't go, I don't know, I can't remember what happened, but it was like non-existent. And so the second number, I said a little prayer first, and I was like, you know, God, if this is it, like, please, you know, I just need answers, and you know I need answers, like, just please. And so I braced myself, and I picked up the phone, and I dialed the number, and he answered. And I say he answered because I immediately knew, I just knew it was him. You know, all those years later, I just knew it was him. And so I introduced myself, but I was fumbling because I didn't know what to say because I couldn't believe it, you know. So I just reached a blank, but I introduced myself and I said, I'm Lyvel, you know. And then he stopped me and he was like, Lyvel, and I was like, yes. And he was like, Loretta's daughter. And I instantly had chills, and I was like, yes. And I was so grateful that he remembered me because now he knows, you know. And now I believed even more that I was going to get answers from him, you know. And it felt like again a little bit more weight was lifted off my shoulders, more weight was lifted off my shoulders, you know, because I'm getting closer and closer and closer to finding just knowing what her final moments were like. That's all I wanted to know. I don't know why. I don't know what it was going to bring me, but it's what I wanted to know, you know. And so nothing much came of the conversation because we were equally just surprised that we were speaking to each other. But we had swapped numbers, of course, and I basically had messaged him after speaking to Tammy, you know, asking him if there was a chance that, you know, we could like meet up. So he could address the questions that I had. And he equally had questions for me regarding the incident because he told me that he knows that he was in an accident. His mom doesn't know what happened because no one explained to them what happened. And he is aware that my mom had passed away. But other than that, there's like nothing that he can remember. Like he doesn't even know how it occurred. And I could answer that for him because I had read the accident because he was insured at the time where I was working. And so using that same cell phone number, I went into the policy and I saw the policy had cancelled because the vehicle is written off. And I saw what vehicle it was. And it was just a year-old vehicle. So it wasn't like, you know, an old vehicle in that. It was like 1 year old. The accident was in 1999. The vehicle was a 98 model. So I went into there and I read, you know, that the tired bus, they were speeding on a gravel road. They didn't have any traces of beer bottles in that, apparently. The passenger, which was my mom, they identified her as an Indian female, was pronounced dead on the scene. And the driver a young white male, had to be rushed to hospital for immediate attention. I went to read the incident description, but there was nothing much there aside from the mom calling and putting the claim on his behalf, saying that she wasn't really sure what happened, but you know, she was notified of the incident. And then I went and looked at some images. There weren't a lot, but we already had images which the police had supplied to us of the accident. So I saw that. So Jacques and I had agreed over text that we would meet up, and I offered to go down there because I didn't know what his financial situation was. And I knew, well, the last I knew that he was border off, you know. So I had offered to go down there to meet with him. He obviously agreed. I wrote down a list of questions that I had on a paper because I felt that when I saw him, I would probably get like so emotional in that and probably like want to hug him or something, you know, and I wouldn't get questions answered if I don't write them down. So I wrote them down, and I told Tammy about it, and she was ever so supportive, and she offered that herself, her kid, Anya was a baby girl at the time, and her husband Nishant would come with, you know. So myself, my partner at the time, Tammy, Nishant, and Anya went down to Bloemfontein because they're staying in Bloemfontein now for the weekend. So we said we'll make a weekend out of it. We'll book in, you know, we'll go have supper, breakfast, and meet him. We'll have the bra in the afternoon after I meet him, you know, because then it's over and done. And I plan to leave all my burdens and all my sadness and everything after I meet this guy, have all my questions answered. I was going to leave it there and come and start a brand new life for myself, you know. Not being this miserable, heartbroken person that constantly breaks down every odd month. And then we would have a bra and then come drive back the next day. So we made it like a whole trip, and you know, we left early in the morning before the sun was rising, and you know, it was nice. It was my friends. It was pretty cool. And we got there. Cancel one. So we got there and I had messaged him that Friday. We took leave. So I messaged him and I was like, listen, so we're in Bloemfontein. I checked in at the guest house and whatever. So see you tomorrow. He told us which mall. Well, told me which mall to meet him at. And I had booked a guest house closest to that mall because we don't know Bloemfontein, right? So, you know, we made arrangements all according to, you know, making it easy for him. You know, he chose the place, we booked closer to the place, whatever, at his time. He said what time and that. So we got to the mall. I was very nervous, but I said to myself, keep my cool, keep my cool, keep my cool. But I was so excited that I felt I was going to actually finally get closure, you know? You get like answers to something unanswered for so many years. Like,
do you remember any of those questions that you had for him?
Yeah. I remember almost all of them.
Okay.
Because they're still not answered.
Yeah.
So we had gotten there and Tammy and Avi and Nishant were a bit nervous because, I mean, this is a bit weird, you know. So we were like, okay, let's meet in an open area and we'll be just at the next table where you are. So I'd message him and he was like, okay, meet me at Musica. Because I don't know if he's going to recognize me. When he met me, I was this child and now I'm this woman, you know. And equally so, you know. So we're like, okay, fine, we'll meet in Musica. And so myself and Tammy were there. I was so freaking nervous. She and I think we were actually holding hands. We were so nervous. And he walks in and the amount of happiness I had because, again, you know, I'm getting closer and closer and closer to releasing all this anger. Because I was so angry. Because, like, she was 29, you know. And she was a single parent and, like, she was my world. And, like, I couldn't understand why you would take away from me, you know. I was very angry. And being a Christian, you're not supposed to be angry with God and whatever. But like, okay, fine, I won't be angry with God, but at least supply me with answers. So, you know, I was so close to getting answers. But he looks at me and he turns around and he walks out. And so Tammy and I look at each other. And we're all confused, but you know, Tammy is so sharp. And she was like, he probably didn't recognize you. Oh, come on, with only 2 Indian people. Well, 4 Indian people there.
And you said to me at Musica, you were standing at Musica.
Yeah. And when we finally met, he told me how much I looked like her. You know. So he walks in, he sees 4 Indian people. One that looks like your ex. Like, and then you like walk out. I don't know. I don't know. So Tammy makes everything okay very fast, and she was like, he probably didn't recognize you, probably like, go after him. And I was like, no, I can't. And I think like she starts running after him. I can't remember, I need to confirm with her, but one of us end up running after him, and like, you know, it was probably me, or maybe it was her, I don't know, I can't remember. But we like tapped him, and like, you know, hi, Jacques, you know, it's us. And then we like greet, but like when we greet, I think because of, I don't know, it's probably just instincts, but the greeting I almost felt like weight put on me again. Like I felt like it's a dead end.
Like you instantly knew that this just wasn't going to get you what you were looking for.
I can't explain it. It's not, it's just how I felt. Like I can't explain what it was. Whether she was guiding me, whether it was the universe, whether it was just instinct. I don't know what it was. But I just knew, you know. But now I'm here. That's what the shot. So then we walked down to the food court. and just him and I sat at one table, and they sat at the other, not very far from me at all. And then we got to talking, and one of the first things, I can't remember what we were actually saying to each other, but one of the first things he told me was that he commented, and he basically said that I was so beautiful, right? But it's in the way he said it. And he didn't only say it once. He said it a few times, and how much I look like her and that. But it didn't feel as in like, it just felt weird. It felt weird, you know. At one point I had to even brush it off. And I had to be like, look, so I do have questions, and I have been searched. I told him the whole story of how I searched him, and he wanted to know how I found him. So I ended up telling him how I found him. And then we got to the actual, you know, let's discuss this. And I had wanted to know, not to do anything with the information, but just to understand properly what had happened, you know. And so I wanted to know whether he had anything to drink, any alcohol to drink, and he said no. And then I confirmed with him. I said, your manager in the incident report, your manager basically said that it was a Friday, and you were at work, and you left work, and then you later met them at Action Cricket, you know. And it was 31st of July 1999, 1 a.m. in the morning, bitterly cold in Bethlehem, you know, and you were at Action Cricket, like, you know. Did you have anything to drink? I don't remember. I'm like, okay. So, you remember picking up my mom? No. Okay. Do you remember driving with her? Do you remember the accident at all? No. Okay, so what do you remember? I remember like she was coming to fetch me. I remember she was coming to visit me and that I needed to fetch her. But that's all I can remember. I was like, okay, do you remember being at work? Then he was like thinking, and he says, yes, up to a certain point, but then after that I can't remember anything. So you don't remember fetching her, you don't remember seeing her, you don't remember her sitting in your car, you don't remember like ambulance anywhere near you, you don't remember her jumping off from Calvin or saying bye to Calvin. No, I don't remember any of that. So why am I here? Like seriously, why am I here? I don't understand, why am I here? I mean, you could have told me this on the phone. I remember folding up the paper. I remember folding up the paper, but I do remember making a note to explain to him that he can, and please, I beg him to be totally 100% honest with me, because I did read up, and he could have been charged for homicide, right? But I wasn't going to do anything with that information. I just wanted answers because I've been suffering all these years. I just want you just to be honest with me. If you had a drink, I don't care. I don't care who doesn't drink. Like, you know, just tell me what his last words. Did she like speak about me at all? Was she smiling? Did you guys get in a little argument? Did you kiss her? Like, tell me something. Just tell me something. And he told me nothing.
But now, from what I remember you saying about the phone call, he mentioned that he couldn't remember much on that phone call.
Yeah. And so that's why he had questions for me.
Right. Did he ask those questions?
No. No. He just told me, he says that his mom couldn't tell him what happened, so he just wants to know what happened. So I just basically told him that you had fetched her. This is the report, says this is what happened. You're tired, bus, you're speeding on a gravel road, and her neck had broken, you know. She had flown out of the window. And he was like,
did he say sorry?
not at all. And that's what broke me. That's what broke me. I'm going to explain what had happened after that. But the questions, why this visit ended up being so sour is that I had folded my paper and put it away because I knew then instantly that I wasn't going to get anything. I turned and I looked at the table, you know, to signal to these guys that it's about to end real soon, like, getting nothing. I wasn't sure what to do. I just felt my heart getting heavy and heavy and heavy because, it felt like, once again, a dead end, and then he ended up telling me the story that I couldn't understand why he was telling me, but he ended up telling me that he's dating this girl and his mom is just so desperate for a grandchild, and this girl wouldn't have a baby with him, and so he's just like, he just can't wait to have a baby. In between telling me the story, he goes on to say how much I look like my mom and how beautiful I am in that. There was another story that he told me, based on like relationship, how he couldn't be like totally honest in his relationship, and how he's like an honest guy who he wants to be in. I can't remember because listening to him, I just couldn't imagine what I was listening to.
Yeah.
Like what is this? Someone changed the channel? Like what is this? I don't understand the topic of conversation right now. And then at the same time, I was getting freaked out. And then at the same time, I started questioning my mom, sitting right there and then. And I was like, how? What did you introduce into our life? Like, I don't understand. What is this, Like, in a small percentage of me was like a bit disgusted with her. But then I remembered the man that I had met then. And the man that I had met then is definitely not the man now. And I felt like that's something that I needed to make peace with. I thanked him for his time. I wasn't willing to put up with any more of that kind of conversation. I mean, Avi was right there, and if Avi knew the type of conversation he was having, he wouldn't allow it, you know what I mean? Neither would Tammy, like, they wouldn't. So I thanked him for his time and whatever, and he left, and Tammy came to hold me, and as we were walking out, I remember crying so bitterly. I felt like I lost all over again, and I stand to be corrected again, but I'm almost certain it was Tammy, and she asked me, did I at least say sorry? And I was like, no.
That's pretty disgusting.
I mean, I didn't expect him to say sorry, for the accident, or, whether he was intoxicated or not, I don't know, whatever. But just say sorry for your loss.
Yeah, he had a lot to be sorry for. And to show no resentment, no grief, no anything toward you. Not even a sorry, it's pretty horrific.
It was horrible. We got back, because remember the plan now was to bride, the four of us. I mean, obviously the circumstances were going to be different. We thought we were going to be laughing and partying, whatever. But I went into that bathroom and I cried. And again, I was so angry with her and I was so angry with God. And I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. I leave. I don't care how you died. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. I just know that I can't keep going through this. I can't. So I'm done. And I'm leaving you here. You died close to here. Like, just stay here. Just let me go and let me live my life, Because I would have, like, breakdowns, in my relationship. And just so randomly, out of nowhere, it's just insane. And, well, all I wanted was answers. So I prayed and I left it there. And we ended up having the bride, but everything was such like a downer. Like I said, it felt like I lost all over again. That everyone felt this downer, I think we made supper. We went to sit in Tammy's room, and we decided to leave early, a day before. Like, we decided to leave. We said, we're done with this place. We're done. And so we came back home, and I thought I'd left it there. For a few months, it caught up with me again. I immediately stopped talking about him. I remember I used to put her picture up a lot on my WhatsApp status. as my WhatsApp profile picture, and he would see that and he would respond to me, and he would say something to the fact that how beautiful she was, whatever. But it used to cringe me now, you know, like I felt like this wave of darkness that's messaging me and telling me how beautiful, like, you know, like you took her away, you tell me how beautiful she is, you know. So I blocked him, and he's been blocked ever since.